No, I want to end this message with a tangible expression of this. I had the opportunity to meet up with my brother Caleb. Caleb is from Nepal, and I just got to meet him a few weeks ago, and we met. We went to a McDonald's together, and there he shared his whole story with me. And when I was hearing the story, I felt, wow, that really is the tangible expression of what God does in transforming our hearts and why we do certain things, not because we're told that we have to do it. It's just because He's transformed us that we want to do it. It's not something that we're forced to do. It's something that we live to do because He has begun to transform our hearts. So at this time, can I invite Caleb? Do you want to come up? Can you guys welcome him, encourage him a little bit? All right, so we're going to do this interview style. It's on. Yeah.
Good afternoon.
All right. So Caleb, can you briefly tell us a little bit about yourself, your family background, how many siblings you have, your family, wife, kids, and the kind of work that you did in Nepal?
Actually, my name is Caleb, Sherpa from Nepal. My family is a very small family, 4 brothers and 5 sisters. So we are 9, and including my parents, we are 11. So I think you can see my another small family. This is my wife and son is called Emmanuel, and daughter is called Yang Chen. I accepted Christ when I was 14, like in 1995. And before that, I was grew up in the mountain. I didn't put in picture here, but maybe in a few later. And then when I was like a little child, like a 6 to 12, like 13, I used to walk like 4 hours every day to get my school, like 2 hours go and 2 hours back. Like that, I grew up in my hometown, and later I came back to Kathmandu and I accepted Jesus. And then after accepting Jesus, I started to work in a Bible translation in my own Sherpa language. And then I worked almost like 10 to 11 years. And then it took almost like 50 years to finish.
So he was working for Bible translators, and then there's particular language, because how many languages are there in Nepal?
And there are like more than 120 different languages in Nepal, and 64 different tribal groups.
And his particular language is Sherpa?
Sherpa, yeah.
Is Sherpa, and so he was helping translate the Bible into Sherpa, and now this is the final product that he did.
Yeah.
It took 11 years.
I think later, if you want, you can see.
Yeah. So Caleb, how did you end up adopting? I heard that you adopted a child, and also you adopted even a grandmother, and to live with you. How did you end up doing that?
Actually, when I was child, I grew up with my grandparents, because we have a big family, so we have to separate from parents, because my grandparents live nearby my parents. So mostly I go to my grandparents because they make very good food, and I always go there. And then when they are sick, I always help them. So I mostly grew up with my grandparents. And from my childhood, I really love the old people, like the people who are old, like old age. I really love to spend time with them, talk with them. And when I accepted Jesus, so I learned a lot from his life. And even through when I'm reading Bible, that Jesus did a lot of things for this world and for other people. He never did anything for himself. So at the time in our country, it's not easy to share the gospel. So we have to share the gospel to our people is not easy. So at that time I was praying with God, how can I share the people in my a gospel to our people? So, and that I got an idea that maybe if I do some social work, so through that also I can reach my people. So at the time I was like a kind of like a leader in the church, and then one of our sister came to me, and then at that time I just got married like like 6, 7 months. And their sister came to me and Caleb, there's one little girl like who is 5 years.
You get a napkin.
Sorry, I'm little emotional. And the sister came to me and she shared about the little girl. Thank you. And then when she shared about the little girl, and her father died when she was 3 months, and her mom got married with another man, and then she was like almost orphan, and then I told her to bring to my family. Before that, I think I talked to my wife. So when I talked to my wife, we decided to bring her to our family, and there was she was like a little far from where I live, because it takes like almost like now there's a road, so we can't drive like 14 hours. So the sister, I talked to sister, and she went to the village and she brought the little girl to our family. So through this his example, that I decided to maybe this is a good idea to share the gospel among all people when we do things. Because when I started to do these things and people started to ask me, why you do a drink? And later, maybe you can see in the picture, there's another old lady, now she's 72.
So if we can go back to the other
Yeah,
picture,
yeah.
the girl that you see in the middle,
Middle is
that's
like-
her adopted
Yeah.
daughter.
And you can see the grandmother. And then after 2 years of the girl, and again then another sister from the church, then there was a old lady who was drinking alcohol and she slept in the road and something like that. And she was she shared about her story, because she was her family was very rich in the beginning, and then her husband was a businessman, and he got married with another girl. And then almost when he got married with another girl, and she became a more a torture from her husband. And then later on, it's another lady took all the property from her husband, and she was nothing. And she started to drink alcohol, and she has only one daughter, and then even she also went to a Gulf country to work to support her mother, and she died.
So just to recap, the girl that you see in the middle, she basically didn't have a family, and when his family was just starting, that was the time that they decided to adopt and just bring her in. And even with that responsibility, when this grandmother was drunken, just because she's just trying to drink her life away from just the pain that she has in her life, they decided, even with young children in their house, decide to bring in this grandmother who was an alcoholic at that time. And Caleb shared with me that almost every night at the beginning, she would run away because she wants to find alcohol again. And then every night, him and his wife was pregnant at the time, would go searching in the city for this grandmother to bring her back in again. And they'd be doing this day in, day out. And then finally, the grandmother did stay with them. And so it's an amazing kind of example of this gospel that we see that's alive. No one told him that he has to do this. No one said that this is something that you need to do. But when we see in the Bible where Jesus says, hey, God really does care about the orphans and the widows, and then him just tangibly saying, well, if God does care, then I must do, regardless of his own circumstance at that time. So Caleb, can you tell us, how did you end up coming to Canada?
Oh, it's thank you, Pastor, for sharing because of my English. I think after accepting Jesus, when I was doing like Bible translation, and then I think to like a ministry life is not easy. When I was involved fully in translation, I don't get like a good payment. I think if I tell you that time when I started like a translation work, I got like $25 in a month. And then from that time, I think when I started, like 2-3 years is okay. And after that, I started to think, if I do always like this, if I get like $25 in a month, I can't do anything for my family or for the other people. And then I was praying with God. And then even like I work in 11 years, in the between also I tried to run away from my work several times. And I tried, but I never succeeded. Because later, when I finished this translation, I knew that God had a good plan in my life. So, and at the time also I was like like a mountain guide and trekking guide. So, when I finished my translation, then God started to open the door for me. So then God took me many countries around the world. And then through many of my friends also, I heard that Canada is one of the good country. And it's not easy to get visa to come to Canada for our people. Even like sometimes the people paid like more than $40,000, $45,000 to come to here to 1 week for the visa. But God opened the door for me without any payment, anything. And I'm really thankful with God that I got a chance to come to Canada in 2017. That was for my business purpose, tourism. And I came 2 times, this is my 3rd time. And then when I came here and I saw there are many Nepalese around Toronto and around Canada also. There are more than 10,000. And when I feel that it's not easy to share the gospel in our country, and I was praying to God, maybe if I come here, it's very easy to share the gospel here in Canada. Because in our countries, in Nepal, since last year, the government put a new law. If I share the gospel in publicly, if I tell people to come to church or come to Jesus, and if they are angry with me, and if they put case to the police officer, and I can go to prison for 5 years. So it's not easy. So I was praying, and I've been to USA and many other European countries also. And when I came here, and my heart wants to come again, and maybe I hope to stay some years here. Maybe something. So I felt like that, and I came to Canada last July.
So Caleb was part of helping plant 3 other churches in Nepal. And because some of the pastors there have a hard time because Nepal is still under a communist regime, Caleb said, I want to help support those pastors so that they can do it. And so he kept telling me that that's why I need to succeed here while I'm in Canada, so I can do that, while also evangelizing some of the Nepalese that live in this region as well. So I know, Caleb, from your story, you've been through some hard times. We had the big earthquake in Nepal a few years ago, and then for you, difficult financial times now as you're here in Canada, and then you're also separated from your family. And I want to ask you, what keeps you trusting in Jesus even when it seems like parts of your life are dark?
Actually, even like a hard time, even like a separating from family, I think it's always like encouraged us and like trusting Him. This is because of His Word of God, living Word of God. When we read every day, like every time, and He always like encourages us. And even like there are many Bible verses who always encourage me to trust always with Him. Maybe I gave some of the verses to Him, but I can read some of the verses for you. There is some verses from the book of Job. You have taught many people and given strength to the feeble hands when someone stumbled, weak and tired. Your words encourage him to stand. And there is another word. There are word of God. Don't you look? Don't you know? Have you heard? The Lord is everlasting God. He created all the world. He never grows tired and weary. No one understands His thoughts. He strengthens those who are weak and tired.
Amen.
So, because of His word of God, and then when I read the word of God, and then when I pray together with my family, it's always like a gift, like trusting to Him. Even like a hard situation, even in the earthquake that I lost my niece. So it was really hard time. But after 1 week of that big earthquake, God brought me more than 2,000 family to help them, support them, and encourage them. And this is all because of His example.
We're gonna use some time right now just to pray over Caleb, and if you just join me in prayer over him, let's just pray that God will continually use him, that God will bless his church back home, that it won't suffer so much persecution. Let's pray also for his family that are still in Nepal, that God will provide for them financially, and then especially for his studying here, that he will do well and then be able to get his PR and then bring his family over as well. So let's pray over Caleb together. Father, I thank you so much for blessing us, Lord, with Caleb and just his testimony, Lord, and just the great work that you've been doing in him, Father. We see the living gospel that work through him, Father. We continue to do, Father, just that great work, Father.